So, should you wait or should you buy now? This is the truth about buying in Omaha right now. And if you're like, who is this guy telling me what I should be doing, whether I should be buying or selling? If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name's Steven Besse. I'm your local real estate expert here in the Omaha and Lincoln metro area with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. And if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest here in the Omaha or Lincoln metro area, please feel free to reach out to me at any time. All my contact information is on the screen as well down below. If you would like, you can book a completely free one-on-one real estate consultation with me in the link in the description. But now let's get on to the video. So what's actually happening in the Omaha market right now? What we're seeing is that it is not a competitive market. Buyers have low motivation, which is making it not a competitive market. But when buyers have low motivation and it's not a competitive market, and you add to the fact that it is a winter market, you get a whole bunch of leverage, which is why the winter market is the best time to buy a house, but more on that later. And because right now we are seeing more price drops than bidding wars. Bidding wars are actually fairly rare right now. And we're only seeing competition in areas that are in the first-time homebuyer price range, which is that $350,000 and under. And not only that, they need to be priced well, which is under market value, and they need to be turnkey, which means everything is up to standards. There's fresh paint. The kitchen is updated. The floors are updated. Everything is to the nine. But even seeing that, it is still a very mild market compared to our spring market. Now, the real reasons why people wait, and not just the excuses, because like I just said, you have a whole bunch of leverage, but the problem is there's absolutely no motivation going on right now with people wanting to move. They're all like, we can move or we can not move. It does not really matter, which leads to people being way too picky, and they're losing out on these great deals because the house doesn't have the paint color that they want, the flooring that they want, the kitchen isn't fully updated. But for a $20,000 kitchen complete remodel, if you can get a house for $40,000, $50,000 less, when a house just needs $20,000 more into it, and especially if you're a first-time buyer, that is the best way to go. And also, what I'm seeing with first-time buyers is that right now they're using AI, they're using ChatGPT, they're using these online calculators to figure out what their costs are going to be when they're buying. However, these are not the real costs. And once they meet with me, an actual realtor, and I tell them, and I calculate how much a home is going to cost with the down payment and the monthly payment, it completely shocks them, which sets them back quite a few months in order to save up enough money to actually be able to buy. But what are the costs of waiting? And this is a complete Omaha example. I know this somewhat relates to the rest of the US, but this is mainly an Omaha example because I'm only licensed in Nebraska and I mainly work the Omaha and Lincoln market. So everything in here is going to be for the Omaha and Lincoln market. But what we saw are the buyers who waited, they hesitated all year long. And the winter is the absolute best time to buy because this is when buyers don't want to be moving, sellers don't want to be moving. So sellers are only, the people who are listing their homes are only doing it because they need to, which means you have all of the leverage here. And that means you also are losing out on these price drops. You're losing the negotiating power and you're paying more 4 months later in the spring market than if you were to buy right now in the winter market. And how do I know this? That's because the cycle repeats every single year. If you look at the sales trend over the past decade, you will see it goes up during the spring, a little bit down, and then back up until the winter hits, and then it plummets all the way down until we get back to the spring. And something that is so hard for me is that a lot of these people who are just stuck on waiting, they can't learn from others' mistakes. They have to be burnt by the fire themselves, which is so hard for me because my job as a realtor is to look out in your best interest. However, I'm not going to push you to buy something when either you're not ready to buy it or you don't want to buy. My job is to give you all the information you need to make a decision, but a lot of the times you're going to need to get burnt yourself. And now buyers who bought, we're comparing this to COVID, especially the early era of COVID. People who moved early now have huge equity, and I mean huge. These are the people who bought way before the crowds even knew they should be buying. They didn't overthink, and they didn't wait for the news headlines. The second the news headlines hit, made everything seem tragic. All the jobs started moving online, which meant people wanted their home office. Everyone started upgrading in homes, and all the prices just inflated so much. Some people gained 150 to 200% in value in some cases, and these are the people who bought in late 2019. And they won because they acted fast and they did not overanalyze what was going on. And speaking of overanalyzing, something that a lot of people overanalyze are the interest rates. And I believe that this is 100% a misplaced fear. And I'll tell you why in just a little bit. And this fear absolutely ruins people's chances of getting a home loan. And right now we're seeing a 30-year fixed rate mortgage at just 6.19%. And that 15-rate fixed rate mortgage at that 5.44% according to Freddie Mac. And this, if you compare this to the past decades, this is not a bad interest rate at all. Even if you compare this to the past 2 years, we're still down with our interest rates. And so what do buyers fear the most? Do they fear interest rates or do they fear the rising house prices? And sadly to say, why I'm saying that this is a misplaced fear is because they fear interest rates way more than the rising home prices. And like I said, this fear is severely misplaced. They're fearing the wrong thing. And why they're fearing the wrong thing and why I say that is because interest rates will always move up and they will always move down. Absolutely no one can predict whether the interest rates are going to go up and down. I've met with so many lenders, and some have said it's going to go up, some have said it's going to go down. In the long run, none of them have been correct. However, the difference between an interest rate and a home is you can 100% refinance your interest rate, but you cannot refinance the price of your home. And homes in Omaha, the value of them are only going up. And we're seeing with all the market data that I don't know where these people are saying that we're coming into a recession again, that the home prices are going to collapse. Something that I want you to know is never take the news headlines as face value, especially if they're not hyper local. And for everyone that's watching this that lives in Omaha, I'm specifically talking about Omaha. Maybe in different markets, you might be seeing trends for a recession, but we are nowhere near that here in Omaha. And one of the reasons is because I believe Omaha is going to be the next Florida, Colorado, and Nevada growth with its growth patterns, which is something that I'll explain a little bit more here in just a second. But before we move on, I want to let you guys know, if you haven't noticed already, this video is completely informational. This is not meant to be entertainment. This is meant to give you the strict facts. And if this whole video is not something that you want to watch all the way through and you just want to get something personalized to you, once again, feel free to reach out to me at any time. All my contact information is right here. And if you're looking to buy or sell in the Omaha or Lincoln market, you will do a one-on-one real estate call where I will give you your full roadmap based on your needs. And with that being said, why is waiting so deadly here in Omaha? Because if you wait, you will 100% get priced out. And this is huge. With the growth patterns that I was just talking about, this is something that you need to pay attention to. See, more people are moving to Omaha than ever before. And one of the reasons why I believe Omaha is growing so fast is because we're constantly rated as the #1 city to move to from articles such as Forbes. And this article was released in 2024, and I believe we are going to take the cake in 2025 as well, which will just bring more people to Omaha. And the main people that are moving to Omaha are the people from the East and West Coast. As a local here in Omaha, this is something that you need to be watching out for, because the people on the East and West Coast, they have a lot of this. Got a ton of money, and the starter homes and the average home price here in Omaha is $300,000. And on the coast, you can't get a single thing for that $300,000, which means the people moving here are going to be buying more expensive houses, building more expensive houses, which is just going to raise the prices of all the homes around. And one of the reasons why people are moving here is because of the job growth opportunity and the affordability gap. Like I mentioned before, Omaha is so much cheaper to live than most of these different cities, especially the ones on the coast. And my predictions for the market, so right now, like I mentioned, we're looking at $300,000 as the average home price. My prediction is that in the next 10 to 15 years, that $300,000 average home price is going to double, which is why I'm saying right now, there is no better time to buy, because with the influx of people coming in, you're going to be priced out. But speaking of priced out, is renting cheaper than buying? Because renting just seems kind of like a better deal, but renting in the long run is not cheaper. According to Zillow, the average rent is $1,598. However, that is money completely gone forever. And as we're saying, the average home price, like I mentioned previously, is $300,000. And if we're comparing the two, we're going to assume you're putting 10% down and you're having that 30-year fixed rate mortgage at that 6.19% interest rate, which gives us $2,561 a month. And if you compare that to the average rent, you're spending about $1,000 more every month just to buy a home. And something that you need to compare is that these two prices, this price right here is going to be the absolute most you're going to spend every single month. And this price is going to be the least that you're going to be spending every single month, because with a home, you have repairs and everything. But a lot of people compare the difference and they say, well, how does it compare if I just split the difference and I take that $1,000 and I throw it into the S&P 500 instead of buying a home and getting equity from that? And from what I've seen is, for Omaha specifically, you will make way more money if you buy a home rather than invest $1,000 a month into the S&P 500. And part of that is due to the expected growth that Omaha has and the growth that we're seeing right now and the inflation on prices. So that's something to keep in mind. Well, yes, renting is cheaper. In the long run, you are being forced to save money by buying a house. And the thing is that a lot of people, they aren't financially smart enough or willing to save that $1,000, and that $1,000 just goes right into this beautiful trash bin right here. That money is just spent on things that you don't need. While owning a home, you are forced to put that money into your home. You have no choice but to invest that money, which is one of the reasons why most millionaires became millionaires through real estate. And now, with the renting and the buying, why are people actually buying? And the reason why people are buying is just like I mentioned previously, and it's so they can have equity. This right here is absolutely huge. It is a forced savings account. It is a forced savings account that gives you equity, which means you are on top of putting this money into your home. Your equity, which is the value that you have in the home, is going to continue to grow and grow and grow the more people move to Omaha and the more people are putting money into the housing market. So not only are you not wasting your money by spending your money on your mortgage each month, you are getting free equity just by owning that property while other people are buying around you. And a lot of people use their home. We'll draw a nice pretty home here. A lot of people will use this home. After a while, they have so much money in here that this is used as their bank. You can take loans out on this. You can buy investment properties without having to put any money down, just by pulling a couple dollars out from your equity. And this right here is just the start of how generational wealth is built. Now, where buyers win fast, this is where they get instant equity. And for all my first-time buyers, make sure to pay close attention to this part. You want to look for homes that have absolutely terrible floors. And the worse they look, the better for you. And this is because floors that look as disgusting as possible make buyers not want to buy the home, which gives you more leverage and negotiating power to buy the home for way less than it's actually worth. The cheapest way to find a home for a couple $1,000s cheaper than it's actually worth, a little bit more than it's actually worth, or a little bit less than it's actually worth, is to find homes with terrible, and I mean terrible, paint. The second that they paint the home back to a neutral color, a more agreeable color, the home will go up at least $3,000 for just a $200 paint job. And so if you can see a home that has terrible paint that people are clearly not going to like, that is one of the homes where you can jump and get a few $1,000 discount just because other people aren't willing to make those upgrades. And which is why I tell all my sellers, if they have unagreeable colors like red and stuff, I always suggest for them to paint it. Once again, I'm not going to tell you what you need to do. I'm not going to force you to do anything. I will tell you what will get you the most bang for your buck, but I can't force anyone. And one of the biggest things for my first-time buyers or people that just want a good investment and they want instant equity is look for the homes with these terrible, outdated kitchens. If you can find a kitchen that is outdated and doesn't look good, that needs new countertops, new appliances, new cabinets, new flooring, new absolutely everything. The only thing good about this kitchen are the can lights that they have up top. That is the only thing that's working for this kitchen. But let's say this kitchen will cost you $20,000 to upgrade. If you did this yourself, that's how much that kitchen would cost to upgrade. But if the sellers were to spend that $20,000 to upgrade the home, this home would be worth $50,000 more. So let's do the math. If you were to subtract that, you're saving a total of $30,000 just by buying a home that has a little bit outdated of a kitchen. And the higher price ranges you go up, the more money you can save with an outdated kitchen. Now moving on, if you are someone that you're like, I like the idea of instant equity, but hey, Steven, doing these upgrades are just not for me. I want a home that I can move into. You know what? I want a home that's mine. It's never been anyone else's. I want a new construction home. The homes that I'm seeing right now with the best deals, especially for this $400,000 and under price range, is D.R. Horton. I know a lot of people hate on D.R. Horton, but guys, D.R. Horton is not meant to be a luxury builder. That's not their target audience. Their target audience are the first-time home buyers that want a home that's never been anyone else's, that is just theirs, that they can spec out to how they want. And why I say they're the best is not only do they give you all the smart home devices, everything that you would want in a home, they have multiple deals that they offer. Right now, for this month only, they're offering a move-in ready package. And what this package contains is a fridge, a washer, a dryer, and blinds throughout the whole house. Sorry about my terrible handwriting. It is what it is. We move on. We got the doctor level handwriting. But so you could choose to get all of these in a package, or you could choose to get up to $5,000 to cover some of your closing costs. And for my first-time buyers out there, having an extra $5,000 towards your closing on homes that are already fairly cheap is so huge if you want to get into the game without a lot of money. Because D.R. Horton, I did a video that I will throw up a little link up here. Make sure to watch this video all the way through before you click on it. But if you want to watch it, it's up there. I toured a $250,000 brand new construction home from D.R. Horton, which is how I know all of this. And I've been through all their models, and you just really can't get anything better for that $400,000 price range or under. And something else that they offer, which they are weaving out right now, is their rate buy down program, where right now, like I mentioned, rates are sitting at that 6.19% interest rates for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. However, with their rates buy down, you can get a loan in the low fives and even the high fours, which is absolutely unheard of. However, the problem is that this gets way too expensive for them to continue to do. They're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month in order to have those low interest rates. And they say, why spend so much money on these low interest rates when we think we can just get away with giving them a couple $1,000s towards their closing costs? So if you can secure this interest rate deal before they stop doing it entirely, do that. Do that as soon as possible. And if you have a little bit more cash to spend and you're curious if other builders have things that they offer, the answer is yes. A lot of builders are offering incentives right now, and that's due to the market being so slow and their homes just staying on the market for so long. And stuff that they offer are, they'll pay a lot of your closing costs. Depending on the price of the home, they'll give you $30,000 towards closing. They'll give you free upgrades, free appliances, and free add-ons. They do it just like they do for D.R. Horton, but they do it to a much higher extent because it's a higher price point, which is something that you need to, if you're looking for new construction, you got to shop around the builders to see who has the best build quality with the best incentives. And I promise you, this will not last. This is only in the spring when we have a bunch of buyers back in the market ready to buy. All these upgrades are going to go bye-bye. They're going to be no longer a thing. And now my buying formula, my buying guide here in Omaha, what I would recommend to do if you were someone who's looking to buy here in Omaha. First is don't look at your pre-approval max. This is huge. Your pre-approval max will indeed lie to you. Instead, look at how much you're comfortable paying monthly and shop around lenders, because lenders are going to give you your monthly, they're going to give you your pre-approval max. They want you to spend the most money possible. That way they can earn the biggest commission possible. But it doesn't make sense if you're pre-approved for a $400,000 home, but you're only comfortable spending $2,500 a month. That means you should shop for a $300,000 home, which you wouldn't know if you were just to look at the max. And why I say shop lenders is because different lenders will give you different quotes on interest rates. And I would suggest a lender to you, or if you have a lender that you absolutely love, try to go with them, but get their quotes first, then shop around 2 to 3 different lenders, and I promise you, you will get a lower quote, and you take that lower quote to the lender that you like the most, and that lender will see if that lender can match it or do better. And worst comes to worst, if they can't, then you just go back to that lender that might not be as good, but will give you a better rate. Something that's more painful than having a bad lender or a not as good lender is having a bad interest rate. And something that you need to know is that better credit equals a better rate. So if you're able to spend a few months raising your credit score 30 points, that might be something that would be very beneficial in your favor. And the next thing is you need to become as knowledgeable as possible in the real estate market, which means you need to pick the best realtor for you. That way they can inform you, and when you're informed, you're not fearful because everything will be going to plan. And I believe that is it for that. And here is one rule that saves buyers absolute thousands of dollars. I believe is that you should be buying the second you can afford to, not the second that you entirely feel comfortable or you see the house that you love, but it's not comfortable to buy that home. And I don't want you going house poor, because going house poor is a real thing that you need to consider and you need to keep in mind. But comfort comes after you own a home. Once you own a home, then you can sit down, relax, and just pay the monthly mortgage and gain equity through the years, through what you're paying, and through just how naturally the home is increasing in price. And like I said, don't become house poor. Adjust the price if needed. This is huge. If, like I said, $400,000 house you're approved for, but you can't comfortably afford that, and you'll become house poor, which means you own a house, but all your money that you're making is going to that house. That's a position that I don't want to put you in. So if you have the money to buy a $300,000 home, but you want to buy a $400,000 home, so you want to save, don't do that. Just suck it up and go with that $300,000 home, which will save you so much money in the long run, unless you can quickly make enough money to be able to comfortably afford that $400,000 home. And right here, it just says the exact same thing that I was saying. The sooner you buy, the more equity you have. The sooner you buy, the less competition you'll have. And the sooner you buy, the lower the prices will be, because homes are only going up in value. And the sooner you buy, the more compounding advantage that you have. And it's just like the snowball effect. Once you get the ball rolling, it rolls faster, it gets bigger, and that ball is your cash. And if you want a fully tailored roadmap for yourself of how all this fits your specific needs, then feel free to reach out to me at any time, especially if you are looking to buy or sell here in the Omaha or Lincoln metro areas. And if you want to know what areas will give you the best bang for your buck when buying, click that video right here, and YouTube thinks you'll like this video. And with all that being said, click that link down below, give this video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more information, and I'll see you on the next one.